Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rock star direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jennie will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger.
Welcome back to another episode of Badass Direct Sales Mastery. I'm your host, your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger, helping you whip your business into shape. And today I have with me Amber Brill. Now, Amber and I cross-connected on Facebook, and I got to see her go through a pretty massive thing that happens in our industry from time to time. And she handled it with such finesse, such grace. I had to reach out and invite her to be on the show to talk about her experience once she was able to get her feet back under her and get back going and running here. So Amber is a mom of two who has a passion to help others do things they didn't think they were capable of. She is a six-figure earner in our industry and a best-selling author. Amber, welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, Jennie, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Let me tell you, so you and I are in, I don't know, 2 or 3 Facebook groups together. And when that thing happened this spring, right? So for those of you who are listening, like at some point in the future, we're recording this like late spring, early summer of 2025. So y'all can probably take a guess, and we'll talk more about this. There was a major thing that happened this spring, and it was a pretty big upset in the direct sales network marketing world. And Amber, like I said, handled it with such grace. So let's go back in history. How did you get introduced to the network marketing industry? Because you've been doing this for I think you said in our pre-interview, 19 years.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, Jennie, you're going to make me age myself here. I originally got introduced. I had seen this person in my town that was selling purses, and they were knockoff bags. And I did some research, and my husband at the time, ex-husband now, worked for the government. And he was like, that is illegal. You can't do that. And I was like, I want to have purse parties. So that's when I originally started. And I found someone on Craigslist out of Atlanta. And at that time, I was a new stay-at-home mom. And I just really was doing it to get out of the house. And I didn't care if I made a penny. Literally didn't care if I made a single penny. I just wanted to get out of the house a couple of days a week, have some fun and adult time.
Yeah. And you're not the first person I've met who started for that reason. I mean, I fall into that category. I was looking to get back into education when network marketing found me. And I was also a new stay-at-home mom. My now oldest was almost 2 at the time. And I was like, I have got to get out of the house and talk about something other than My Little Pony, like friendship is magic. Okay. So talk about dating yourself, y'all. Okay. Anyway, so you started in the world of parties, and was it purses then?
Yeah, purses and jewelry. So I started Party Plan,
Okay.
all the stuff to people's homes.
Yeah. Okay. And so from there, then at some point you transitioned to a different company, and was there something? What precipitated that transition?
So when 2008, 2009 hit, we know what happened then, right?
Yeah.
People weren't buying purses and jewelry. Let's just be real here. Some were, but most weren't. They were buying things that, made sense for their life because the economy was pretty tough. From there, I dabbled in some. I opened up a Cash for Gold store, actually, a brick and mortar.
Oh,
thing.
wow.
Yeah, that was fun. And from there, I found a skincare company that I love, and I was in a bad point in my life where I had to make the money. And I
Mm.
realized these other companies that I was with, I was pretty good at doing this, and it was time to take it a little more serious and make it a career.
Okay. All right. And so from there, now, in your intro, you're a six-figure earner in this industry. What did that like? Did you make six figures in your first company or second company? Like, how many, like, at what point did you go from, because every time you start with a new company, you start at zero, right?
Right.
When and where did that happen? And what did that journey from zero to six figures look like?
Yeah. So the person jewelry company, I mean, I was super thrilled when I was making 500, $1,000 a month because again, I started for no money. From there, I did make six figures in the gold business, but I don't really count that because you were paying people, not
Yeah.
selling something to people, right? So it's
Right.
you
Yeah.
make money when you're giving people money.
Yeah.
And then the skincare company that I went into, I was with them for about 3 years, and within 6 months was able to climb to a residual six-figure income before this last transition that
Yeah.
ended in turmoil in the spring.
Yeah. 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 So in that journey to six figures, what was the thing that shifted for you that helped you go from, yeah, I'm good at this, when you were doing purse party and bling parties, doing 10, 12, $15,000 a year to six figures. Like, when you look back at that time, what was the thing that shifted? Was it a mindset, a thing you learned, a process, like what happened in there?
So it was a little bit of all of that, but one major thing was I ended up going through a divorce.
Ooh.
So I was a single mom and,
Mm.
went from being a stay-at-home mom where any money that I made was just like, oh, cool, fun, to being like, okay, either I go back to corporate America where I was before I had my daughter, or I dig down into this thing that I think I'm pretty good at. And it was a part of, I didn't really have systems back then per se. Now I'm blessed to have things like that. But I've always been a people person, and helping other people instead of focusing on your own has always been a huge thing for me to, find their pain points, whether it be money or something with their health or something that they want a solution to, and relating to them on that level and being able to help them
Yeah.
really was what I've always focused on to be able to create the success that I have.
Okay. And so in there, so you were able to make the decision, like, I'm doubling down on this thing that because I don't want to go back to corporate, right? So there's that, I guess we could call it maybe a driving force, you know,
Absolutely. I
that
treating it as a hobby and started treating it as a job, really.
there you go. Ding, 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 right? Like, so there's so that's a mindset shift, right? That's a thing that happens in the brain, but then you also talked about systems. So, going from a place where you didn't have systems to now you have a system or a couple systems working together to help you. What was the first system that you put into place, and how did that move the needle for you?
That's a great question. So the most important system, and really one of the first ones that we did put into place, way back, was something that was a duplication system for bringing new people on and being able to show them exactly what they needed to do in a simplified way without being an expert to make whatever dollar amount they wanted to make. Most people just want to make 500, $1,000 a month. But
Right.
then we have others that do want, that 10, 15, 20,000 a month or more. So the systems that we have in place really cater towards all of those levels. Keeps it very simple, super basic while being a human, so that anybody could come in and say, here's exactly what you do with having no prior knowledge whatsoever.
Right. Oh, and that's good. So, can we dig into the system? Like, what,
Sure.
because one of the things that I regularly work with my coaching clients on is what's your onboarding? How are you onboarding? What are you doing? So I'm always like, me personally fascinated by the variety of onboarding processes and tools and resources that people use. So when you're bringing on someone new, you talked about a duplication system. So first of all, let's talk duplication. Okay. What is your definition of duplication? Because for me, I had a mind-blowing moment about 3 years ago, and I'm curious if you and I talk about it in the same way now.
Okay, I'm curious now too, because
Right.
I know what you're going to say. So my idea or definition of duplication is me being able to show you super simple, hardly no questions asked, and you literally within a couple hours being able to go and show your friends to do the exact same without having to take a lot of time to learn all of these things or be a technical expert. Most people, that's their biggest fear. I'm not good at technology. Guess what, Jennie? I'm not either. I'm great on social media. Do not. I have a brand new MacBook something or another in the package I've had for 8 months. I have not opened that thing. I'm terrified of it. I'm like, it's just sitting on the counter. I forget what it's called. I don't know. It's nice.
Girl, I got someone I can introduce you to who'll help you with it long distance. It doesn't matter. I got your back. But no, I think that's where I think a lot of people define duplication is the system duplicatable. The thing that changed me and was mind-blowing for me was, am I duplicatable? And at what point is it true duplication? And so I was talking to, I don't know if you've ever heard of Jordan Adler. He's one of the top earners in send out cards. And he told me about a book he read. And so I went on Amazon and immediately bought it, because if a multi-million-dollar earner tells you to this is a book that was, then I went and got that book, right? And in that book, it defines duplication as you aren't duplicated until the person does the same thing and they bring in someone and are able to get that person to duplicate themselves. So it's like, yes, you've got the first step, but the next step is then can they then teach and do the thing, right? And that's when true duplication happens, because now you've given them the resources, tools, process, system, right? That they can then go, okay, I can do that. And now I can teach someone else to do it, because that's where true duplication happens. And that's when teams of 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 begin to show up and appear in your life. So I love that. Okay. So I'm sure, and I can feel it right now, the people who are listening, they're like, okay, so what are you doing? Like, what are you using? Like, are you using boards? Are you using what?
We do use boards some. The system that we use, though, our team is really kind of like a company within the company.
Okay.
To be honest, we have a massive system that was created just for our team that cost several $100,000. So that honestly is not duplicatable.
Right.
For someone else to do, but that's why I chose because I didn't want to have to. When I was in my last company, I had to create all those systems.
Yeah.
I had to put out the money for the tools and all the things. And it was nice to have something already in place that was very similar to what we had before without having to front the bill for it, to be quite honest.
Yeah. And I think that's an important piece. Like, if you can get in, and in this case, I'm speaking to anybody who's, looking at changing companies because, I don't know, your company closes on a random Friday, or they change their comp plan. And now you're like, well, I'm not getting paid on my 500 people who are under me. Where are we all going to go? I think that's a key piece, because when you got the news that your company that you were with no longer existed, like, heart attack moment. And how did you then assess, because obviously every company out there all of a sudden went, pick me, pick me, pick me, right? So how did you assess, where to go, what qualifications? And it sounds like, well, hey, they had a system, right?
Yeah.
But what else was out there that you were looking at?
Yeah, we looked at and interviewed, I mean, as you can imagine, our inboxes. And I'm speaking, when I say we, I have a fabulous group of business partners
Yeah.
that I've worked with, for over a decade, and just super blessed to have them on their side. And not everybody went to the same place, right?
Yeah.
We went a lot of different places. And I was actually on a call earlier talking about that, saying, it's sad, but we're all still friends. But
Yeah.
it's just not the same when you're not grinding and working together every day. But we had a
Right.
few things that were really important to me that I wanted to look for. And that was a place that something could be explained easily as far as compensation plan. A lot of companies, and even my former company, if you came to me and said, how do I make $500 this month? If you weren't good with numbers and statistics and compensation, it's difficult to explain.
Yeah.
So I wanted something that was simple to that, 30 seconds or less, could explain, here's how you make $500. Let's go do it.
Yeah.
I wanted something that had products that were proven, that were backed by science, that were patented, because, you need something that can't be duplicated.
Right.
I also wanted something that was innovative, that I knew what was currently happening would have a chance to grow and be constantly innovating within the industry to bring new things out. Oh my gosh, the people and culture, that was really important to me. Culture is a big deal. And
Yeah.
we probably could have went anywhere and made great money, but not everybody can do that. And
Right.
culture, some people come just for the culture.
Yeah.
If you're not happy with what you're doing, you're not going to stick with it long.
Hmm.
So those were big things for us. And really what's even funnier, so we interviewed lots of companies, direct to corporate, with their CEOs, corporate staff, all their C-suites.
Yep.
So we chose the company before we chose who we were going to work with. And,
Smart.
so we were the company for about 9 days before we actually had a team to work with. So I just call us the orphan team. We were kind of hanging out, up at corporate, nobody to ask for help because we had no upline,
Right.
except for us that came over, and we didn't know anything about, the systems and the back office and all the things.
Right. Yeah.
And then we went through another interview process, and that was the most difficult part, because all of the leadership teams that we interviewed were fantastic.
Yeah.
They just were. The culture was great. They were all full of heart and with open arms. But the one that we decided on was mainly because of their skill set, their background, and the systems that they had in place, and the personal incentives. Coming from another company as a top earner, starting at the bottom, I hate to say it, but I didn't want to have to be the one paying for the trips to Dubai and the Louboutin shoes and the Tiffany's jewelry. If somebody else has it in place, why should we out of pocket it again? Like, let's roll with an organization that already has it going on.
Right. And I think that's an important thing because, I've talked about it on the show quite a bit because I do get people who come and listen because they're like, oh, I'm thinking about going into direct sales. So let me go listen to all these people from all these different companies and blah, 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 and do whatever. And what I tell people is that the great thing about this industry is, yes, you are your own boss, but you're also at the mercy of whoever brings you in. Right. And in many cases, the part of the reason that this industry unfortunately has a 90% turnover rate in 5 years or less is because when people come into the industry, they're coming in with someone who knows, in many cases, knows as much about the company, the product, the process, the systems, business in general, marketing, social media, who knows maybe 5 minutes more of it than they do.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, and that can either be a really good thing or a bad thing, depending on who brought them in. And so that I think it was really smart that you were like, I can do it myself, and or I can plug in over here with somebody who's already doing the things that I know worked for me when I was doing them as that leader at another company. And now I don't have to be the one to front it right now yet. Right. Like,
Yeah.
I can just build and
Huge.
earn and have fun.
A simple plug and play. And it really was a key because, like you said, and it's funny that you just mentioned this when you said, most people that join somebody, they know 5 minutes more than someone else. Well, guess what, Jenny? Right now, like it's comical because the people that did come with me from my last company, we've had a lot of new people that have came that were never partnered with us, but they've always looked to me to be the expert, and I was. And they'll come and ask the simplest question. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Let me go find that out. and it's fun because we're learning together, right? Like as far as the products, I'm like, oh, I haven't tried. I am learning the products as I take them. And then that's what I'm studying. And the systems that, whatever piece I'm using, that's what I'm learning. I'm like, but it's been fun to, it's really an even playing field. And we do have the network marketing experience, but we're newbies where we are. And it's a lot of fun.
Well, and if I can throw out something that I know, because my history is I got brought into a company, interestingly enough, a jewelry company, and the leader I came in under had over a decade of network marketing, direct sales, party plan experience with a different company, a different product. And she had literally just moved over to the jewelry company 4 weeks before I met her. And so when she brought my sister-in-law in and my sister-in-law brought me in, so my sister-in-law knew literally 5 minutes more than I did. And, my leader who knew network marketing, whenever I would call her and say, hey, how do I do this? If it was a network marketing thing, she could answer the question. If it was company specific, products specific, back office specific, she's like, why don't you do me a favor? And do yourself a favor, okay? This will help us both out. I don't know the answer to that. Will you call home office and find out, and then will you teach me how to do it? It was the greatest leadership development thing that I didn't know she was doing at the time. Because then I got very quick at learning, okay, I call her for these things. I call home office for these things. And it got to the point where literally I could call home office and I'd be like, hey, Rose, it's Jennie down in St. Louis. Like we knew each other because I eventually, because this was 2010, 2011, back office systems weren't as sophisticated. They certainly didn't have AI back then for you to ask a live chat AI bot, hey, how do I do this thing in my back office? Like you had to call somebody, be like, hey, where do I find this thing? And so that right there, hopefully can help you develop some leaders to be like, you know what? I don't know the answer to that. Would you call home office or would you go chat with the live chat bot or whatever? You know what I mean? Like it's a great way to get them to help be self-sufficient and be like, and then would you teach me how to do it? Right. Because then I went back and I called my leader and I went, oh my God, I know something that you don't know. Here's how you do it. Or I'd send her the email with the step-by-steps. Like, this is how they told me, click here, do this, do blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It was a great way that I'm sure she's smart enough, strategic enough that she went, okay, I'm going to develop this leader right here. And so now here you go develop some leaders, right? Because that ended up allowing me to go, okay, I now can take this step in confidence that if I don't know the answer, she'll know the answer to this, or I can call home office, right? I can do that next thing. So now you are in rebuilding mode, right? How have you handled the transition of being with a company that now no longer exists in a network marketing space and going into rebuilding mode? Like, what are you doing now that you have found to be extremely helpful to be in this rebuilding mode?
Shoo. First of all, one thing that I realized yesterday is we never really grieved. Those of us that just rock and rolled, we never grieved. And I don't think we're going to, which is fantastic. So we dove right in just because we had people counting on us, right?
Yeah.
So that was important. But they really, all I have done and trying to keep up with my inbox is a disaster, even with an assistant, but it's a good problem to have.
Right.
But really just showing up on social media, being honest, being authentic, not bashing anything.
Yeah.
Even our company that closed its doors, it wasn't our company name per se that closed its doors. It was our investors.
Yep.
Funny enough, the C-suite staff at our last company came over here with us. So, going back to the team thing, I do direct them to boards where most of the answers are, but they know instead of calling customer service, Amber has so-and-so's number and she can text them real quick and get the answer.
Right.
Because we came over new, but the C-suite staff came with us, most of them, all of our top ones. So that was good too. But really showing up full force, the last 5 years, I would say, I've always been laser consistent. I've never missed a beat. Actually, the day that I had my 4-year-old, I hit the largest rank in my network marketing career the day I gave birth.
Oh my gosh.
They were like, you need to take a day off. And I'm like, he's sleeping. I'm in the hospital. I'm bored. I'm like, why? What do you want me to do?
Same. I did the same thing. Yeah.
I was like, I'm bored. I want to watch TV. I want to sit here and talk to some people. So it's really been, that last 5 years, I only worked an hour or so a day. And to be honest, it's been fun, Jennie. It's been fun being busy per se, because I'm on things like this. I'm on phone calls. I'm on Zooms. I'm getting to listen to people's stories again and how they need my help and what I can help them with. And maybe I'm not the solution, and that's fine. Right. But some people just need an ear. I was talking to a lady yesterday that she was in the same company as us. We didn't know each other there. She reached out. She was like, how are you so happy and positive? What are you doing? And I was like, let's pop on a call. Mm-hmm. And we just chatted life. And, she's in a bad place. She hasn't slept. She's been sick. She's been depressed. Like, it broke my heart. And I was like, anytime you need a phone call, just call me. And she might partner with us here, but she might not. But I don't care. I want her to know that there's someone that has been in a situation that isn't going to just be a vulture, for lack of better terms. But, I had some amazing people reach out. Don't get me wrong. That really did mean it and heartfelt. You did yourself. Mm-hmm. But there were some that the messages I got, I'm like, why? Like, why do you think that's acceptable? So, and that's really just been what it is. Showing up consistently, talking to people, and being a caring human and being willing to listen.
And, I think all of those are things that people can do no matter what level they're at.
Absolutely.
It's, I just participated in a 3-day event, and I love that what you're saying is some of the things that I actually took away from that 3-day event, because I ended up talking to another coach, and he did a little mini presentation for us there to say, here's what I'm doing, and here's what has taken my business from this to this, and blah, blah, blah. And what it came down to was, how simple is your system? How consistent are you being?
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, and that's what you've been talking about. Simple and consistent, simple and consistent. So, right. How simple is your system? You plugged into a simple system that you didn't have to create or do or anything like that. And I find it so funny, because one of the conversations I had with another coach friend of mine was, some of the struggles that people in network marketing has to do with the fact that many people in network marketing are rebels.
They want to reinvent the wheel.
I don't want to be in corporate anymore. And so I'm going to be a rebel and go into network marketing. Okay, we need you to do the simple system. I'm a rebel. Right? And it's like, just do the freaking system. I know you're a rebel. Do the freaking system.
We do tend to overcomplicate things as humans when
for sure, especially those of us who call ourselves I am unemployable, right? Yes, people can hire me, but I am not your employee. You're hiring me because I'm your consultant, your coach, or I'm training your team. That's what I'm doing. I'm coming in to be the cool aunt with purple hair and tattoos, and I get your kids to eat the freaking broccoli. That's what So it's helping people understand those things, right? And when they can begin to understand themselves, to know that they're a little bit of that rebel and, et cetera. But we could go on for days. We're not going to go on for days, but we could. And so one of the things that you and I talked about pre-interview was, look, you're with a new company. There are people who have never heard of this company until the last few weeks now because of reasons, right? And now you want to help people begin to understand some of what they have to offer. So you have a gift for our listeners who may want to explore a little more and maybe get to know you a little bit better as well. So, what do you have to offer for the badass crew who's listening right now?
Oh my goodness. So let me start off by saying, Jennie, I am a skeptic of all skeptics. All right. So if somebody tells me something's going to do this, that, and the other, I always in my head, and this probably will never change, are going to be the one that says, yeah, okay, let me get that and let me prove you wrong. And when it doesn't work for me, I'm going to let you know. Okay. In a nice way, but because I have an honest feedback too.
Right.
So I'm going to give away a 30-day supply, so a month long, of what we call our cortisol cocktail. Okay. Lowers cortisol levels, which, is that stress hormone. Yeah. Everybody has stress, but also increases dopamine and serotonin levels. And I really think this is why I've gotten through all of this and not grieved and been able to stay positive. I'm not even kidding. It doesn't make sense to me how it does what it does, but
it just feels like happiness magic. It sounds like.
Absolutely. And it doesn't make things go away. Somebody was like, so it's going to rid all my problems. I'm like, no, but life doesn't feel as heavy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not as heavy,
Right. Well, and this speaks to people who are just generally more positive anyway. It's not that they don't have problems. Positive people still have problems, but because they're positive, they have different ways of dealing with said problems, right? Yeah. And it sounds like this is a great tool for people who are maybe getting overwhelmed, getting flooded with those cortisol hormones, and could maybe use just a little step stool to be like, hey, like I could use some help getting out of the muck and mire of my cortisol that I didn't know was having an effect on me, right? So how can they reach out to you to ask you for this 30-day cortisol cocktail supply from you?
Yeah, so they can look me up on Facebook if that's okay.
Sure, absolutely. So Badass Crew, you know how this goes. We put her Facebook link directly in the show notes, in the episode notes. So for those of you, if this happens to be your very first time ever listening to the show, all you have to do is grab your phone, as long as you're not driving, click today's episode, scroll under Amber's beautiful picture, and there will be her Facebook link. So you can reach out to her and say, hey, I heard you on the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Show. What you had to say was brilliant, wonderful. Thank you so much for doing it. And by the way, can I get a 30-day supply of the cortisol cocktail? Like quick, easy, simple, one sentence. Thank you. Always start with gratitude, people. Always start with gratitude. And then make the request. And you also are a best-selling author and you have a wonderful book. Yeah. Tell us about the book.
Yeah. So this was one of my, I guess the second or third collaboration that I did with Rob Sperry, who I'm sure you know, who's a fantastic coach in the industry. I've worked with him on several different projects, and it's just a really good tool for anyone in the industry. It is basically like our greatest hits series, right? So we took all of the best articles out of all of his collaboration books, put it into one as proven strategies from the greats. And Jennie, really funny, I didn't realize this until I flew up to our new corporate headquarters. My new leadership at my new company and I did this book together. We're in a chat working together and had no clue. And we had the book and I was like, I looked and I was like, wait, oh my goodness. Isn't that crazy? It's like full circle I just got goosebumps again.
I did too. Full body, like literally from the back of my head all the way down, like the full body tingles. That's amazing. I love that. All right, guys. So if you would like to read her book, let me get the Mastering Network Marketing, Proven Approaches from the Greats. She's also going to send you a copy of that book, but you have to reach out to Amber. Say thank you for being on the show. I learned from you. And I would love the book, or I would love the 30-day, or if you want both, why not? Ask for both. I live in a world of yes and, right? Let her know that you got value. Thank you for being here and give her a try, right? So, Amber, this has been such a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule as you're in rebuild mode to be here. I so appreciate you.
Oh, Jennie, thank you for having me. This has been fun. I'm glad that we stumbled upon each other, and it's just a true testament that you never know who you're going to meet on social media that you were meant to connect and align with. Like, We'll do a lot of fun things in the future together, I'm sure.
Oh, abso-freaking-lutely. I can't wait. Oh my gosh, everybody. And of course, Badass Crew, you know how this goes. Stay tuned because there's another badass episode on its way.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.